Hi again, we're in the next section in Module 3. So it's called Controlling Specific Permissions to Sites. Let's go ahead and get started. When we're talking about site permissions and site resources, we have this example resource permission menu here. You can see the different permissions are listed on the top: Add Display Template, Preferences, Configuration, View, Add to Page. All of these are permissions, and on the left we have roles. So this is a typical menu you'll see when you are assigning permissions for a page, for example, on a site. That's really all there is to it. Any site administrator is going to be able to go in here and just simply check those boxes, and you've updated the permissions. Let's say on a site you have a group of users that you don't really want to clump into one role. For example, we could have web moderators for our Livingston Life blog site, that we just want a specific group of people to be able to have certain permissions for that site, but we don't want to assign them a role. And in fact, site administrators cannot create roles. So let's say a site administrator wants to give some users some permissions. What they're going to use instead are site teams. So site teams lets you use an existing user group to create a site team, or you can just decide specific users you want to be able to be a part of this site team. You can interact with that site team in the permissions panel the same way you would with any of these other roles. So you can see web moderators has that red outline here. That's a site team, whereas the other words on the role column are roles. But web moderators is actually a site team. So you can add or remove permissions in this panel for a site team. That's it. So administrators can grant or remove permissions on a site resource in the blank. Secondly, blank are groups of site members that can be given additional permissions on specific resources of a site. The answer is that administrators grant or remove permissions on a site resource in the permissions menu. And then site teams is the answer for number 2. They are groups of site members that are given additional permissions on specific resources on a site, but they are not, in fact, a role. And again, one of the reasons for this is because site administrators cannot create roles, but they may want to have the ability to specify groups of users to be given certain permissions. That's actually the last lecture for Module 3. Let's go to the exercises next.